Hi everyone. In this video, I want to show you my creative process to go from little sketch like this to a complete illustration like this. So let's move on to my computer and I'll show you all. My story is an interactive story, meaning that depending on the decision that the user makes, the story will flow differently. So I know that I have different kind of milestones that the user will go through. They are main scenes. They go from the village, then they go after that to the market. They go through the forest, the mines, the swamp, etc. These are major milestones that I know that every user will have to go through those steps in the story. And between the story, so for example, the forest, I would have a decision tree that looks something like this. Little sketch, that's probably the only thing that I do with a pencil, just to make sure that if the story starts at this point, then if it takes the decision, it goes to this point or this point, and then like the story unfolds depending on the decisions of the user. The next step would be to go to ChatGPT and help me write my actual story. So from one little scenes in my decisions tree, I know basically what's before, what's after, what's coming up, and I brief ChatGPT exactly with that part of the story, and it gives me like a few paragraphs, one or two paragraphs of the text with the next decisions. And as a human, I'm the one guiding the AI, so it's like directing the story in the direction that I want to go. If you just leave the AI do whatever he wants, there's a lack of coherence at some point in the story. When I have all my text correctly done, I go into Canva and structure the complete document with all the little text snippets from ChatGPT. Again, I brief ChatGPT to have the exact output, and I know I have some space for my illustration. But the text is basically all determined at this point. Once my page are completely page layout design, I know where my text is going to appear, and I will know exactly where my illustrations will need to take place. Now that I have my page in place, the first step will be to render the sketch. I usually start with a rough sketch just to position my visuals on the page. And after that, I will refine my lines. I usually add a new layer for the clean lines. But I will also probably keep my sketch. So if you look closer, you see my actual lines and the sketch. And I like to keep the sketch in because it gives more textures, more details into the drawing itself. The last step would do the coloring. I use a charcoal paintbrush, this one, with depending various size, various transparency to build my coloring. And as a last step, I will remove my template, export that into a JPEG, and re-import that into Canva. Once in Canva, I will make sure that I put the image behind the text. So the text is very clean compared to my previous version in Canva, where the text was all messy because I was just drawing over the existing text. In Canva, I just put my illustrations completely behind the text. So you will see that the text is sharp over the illustration. And that's it. This is ready for print. I know it's a short video. There are steps missing. You don't see how exactly I do with the illustration. That will be the subject of upcoming videos. That's it for now. I'm Patrice. I will see you in the next video.